Hey everybody, it is Kay coming in for our wonderful host, our normal host, Sherry. She's not in today, so you'll see her within the next week or two. Today on She Said What She Said, I have the amazing privilege to be talking to Chicago's very own Kellye Howard, who is just this amazing person. But like, she's done some dope shit. Like, she is a veteran, she is a mother, she is a wife, she is a comedian, she is an actress. You've seen her on commercials and some other things, and she even hosts her own podcast called Be Less Petty. She's on this dope just a dope ride for being more intentional with what you do. So we're going to bring her in so she can discuss all about Kellye.
All about Kellye. Oh, I can talk about me all day.
Thank you. I hope so. We got about an hour 10. So
Hey, Kay.
hey Kellye, thank you so much for joining us. And look, this show, She Said What She Said, they have wanted you on it for a while. Schedules just didn't happen. And so
And then now
lucky
the host ain't here.
the host's not here, but guess what
Look at
happens?
my face.
I get to
Look at my
stand in. I was standing in for this month. So she just did like the it's not the mutter, but she just did this big obstacle course. She kicked ass. So she's tired. She tired. She's recovering. Um
Yeah, sounds
and
like it.
yeah, so I get to interview you. So I've had some good people, and she's gonna be mad that I got to interview you, but hey, I gotta bring people in so people will watch because they damn sure ain't watching me. So thank you so much. So Kellye, tell us about your journey. Like, you went into the military. How do you go from being in the military to being an actress slash podcast creator?
So the military was a oh shit, I got a baby, I need to make a move kind of deal. I got to pay for school. I got to figure out how to take care of this child that I've had. So that's
Mhm.
what military was. But I've always wanted to be an actress ever since I was 8 years old. My grandma took me to this. I used to live with my grandma before she passed away when I was 10. And she took me to this audition for like some hand soap. It was like Palm Olive, I think, it was either that or it might have been Dial. It might have been, I don't know. It was for a dish soap though. And I was 8 years old, not good at all. Like, didn't understand the world of acting, didn't understand anything about it. And went in and she said, "Baby, you did great." She like really pumped me up, but I didn't do great. Like, I didn't get called back. I didn't get anything from it. In fact, I kind of got really, really nervous and froze up a little bit when I got in the room, because they don't let the grandma come in the room with you. They just,
Oh,
the parent comes and then you go back in with casting. And then she was in the lobby when I came out. And then when I came out, she made me feel like I could do anything. She was like, "Girl, you got this," and grandma's baby this and grandma's baby that. But it was trash. I did terrible. So, but I always wanted to be an actress ever since that moment. And then life kind of took me on a whole nother journey in a whole different direction for a long time. And after the military, I went to Columbia and I studied acting at Columbia in Chicago. Theater specifically at that time. I was studying theater, um, and learning a little bit about like on screen acting and stuff, but not really like, I didn't really start getting my feet wet in that until in my 30s, I would say. But my early 20s, I was still trying to do theater. I did a couple theater productions, moved to LA, moved back, and then I kind of tripped into stand up comedy. And that took off running. That was kind of easy for me because I was a class clown growing up, and I got kicked out of 2 high schools and I was a hot mess. Yeah, it wasn't for class clowning. I got kicked out of high schools for fighting because I was
rough.
that kid. Yeah, I was rough. I was rough around the edges. I was real rough. And so, yeah, and I just, somebody told me I was funny and I should try stand up. and I did. And then that's just where my journey took me after that. I actually found stand-up comedy to be a great platform for like dealing with my internal struggles. You know what I'm saying? Like my tension within myself, this all these conflicts I was having, am I a good person? Am I not? Am I pretty? Am I not? Am I, all these issues I was having, I would be able to take to the stage and kind of just lay it out there. Even if I didn't talk about those specific things, I had an audience to hear me, which felt really good because I was a big mouth person just in general. I'm loud, I'm like in your face. And so I needed somewhere where I could do that, and they wanted that versus me just doing that and they didn't want that,
Mhm.
at grocery stores getting mad about dumb shit. Like, I want to see your manager just so I got somebody to talk to, you know what I mean? Just so I got somebody to, to be in front of. So yeah, that's how the journey kind of started. But I always knew that I would somehow find my way back to acting. And now I'm getting like more serious roles, and I have an agent and a manager, and I'm like in the thick of it. I'm like auditioning regularly. I'm getting booked regularly, and it's really exciting. It's a lot of fun. I'm actually really enjoying myself.
That gives me a little thing to pump you with. You have a one-woman show coming
I
up.
do. I
It
do.
is at, you know, my favorite theater, the Goodman Theater.
Is it?
Is that where it is?
No.
Where's your one?
But I'm glad that's your favorite theater.
What is it?
It's at Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's on the same level though. Goodman and Steppenwolf have kind of been like right there neck and neck for years. Like
You know,
when you think Goodman, you think Steppenwolf.
the
If
Goodman
you're
is the one
thinking,
that's on Dearborn, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, that's
I
not the
don't
one that's
I
my
don't know.
favorite. It's Steppenwolf. I just got the names mixed up. That's the next.
Hilarious.
That's the next.
Hilarious. You don't
It's
have to, you don't have to, you don't have to revert from me. You don't have
I know. I
to.
saw. Look, my first play ever seen was Forever Ernest, and that's where it was at the Steppenwolf. It
You
was.
did tell me that actually a while ago, and you did say Steppenwolf. You said the first play I ever saw was at Steppenwolf. So you did say that.
Exactly. It was Step. Look, I remember
Yeah.
look, Forever Ernest. I love. It's very intimate. The stage, and then sort of like how Rosemont. There's no bad seat in Rosemont
Yeah.
because the seats all go up,
The way,
and there's
yeah.
yeah. That's why I like Steppenwolf because the seats go up. We done seen Blue Man Group plenty of times. Just it's a wonderful place. Great
It
place.
is.
Great
It
place.
is. And
So
they now have my somebody I went to school with is
mhm.
now the creative director over Steppenwolf. I went to high school
Oh.
with him. And so it's just really cool that they're opening their mind to more, you know, Black and brown people, and just
Mhm.
allowing us to have a space to share our stories, because it's important. You know what I'm saying? When you don't see people like you doing this stuff, you don't think it's possible. Like, I honestly didn't take a lot of what I'm doing in my career serious until I started to see some of the people that I started with start to actually make it. You know what I'm saying? And like, and when I say make it, that's so relative. Like, that thought process is so relative of what making it is, because that's different for everybody. But when I started to see them get bigger opportunities and actually show up on TV and be, articles written about them, and they had bigger opportunities just were there for them, then I was like, oh, so you mean I don't got to keep being on this chitlin circuit forever? I can actually make a plan and execute it,
Mhm.
and that was like eye opening for me. And it just happened like in the last, I'd say, 5 years is when I just started to really like, because I've been doing stand up comedy for 15 years. I went to Columbia 21 years ago. You know what I'm saying? 20 years ago. Yeah. Like, I mean, I know I look young, boo, but you know what I mean? Like, I got some age on me. Like, that was a while ago when I first started this journey. And so just to see it now kind of all coming together, and to see my hard work paying off, and for me to be learning it, understanding it, and applying the principles of this craft is just like amazing to me. So Steppenwolf, I'm proud of them for giving us a platform to share our stories, and for people to see that, and then for people that seeing it to create their own stories now because they've seen it.
And when is the show going to start? When is the show?
August 18th through the 21st, every night. The 18th, 19th, 20th, and the 21st. The 21st is a 3 p.m. show because it's a Sunday. But the other 3 shows are at 8 p.m. Yeah. And it's called Crazy or Nah. It is the questioning of the lasting effects of childhood trauma. And I dig in deep. Like it has a lot of funny elements to it, but it has a lot of serious elements to it too, and a lot of moments to just really sit in and think about and process. Because I feel like, you know, as I look back on my journey and as I see where I've come to, and I've learned to accept joy. I've learned to allow myself to have grace and revel in the beauty of certain moments. And that's something that is learned. Like that is not something
Mhm.
that is natural for a lot of us. Instead, it's easy to be like in the bullshit all the time and think that this is life and I'm going to die like this and I'm going to live this way forever. And that's just sad. Like it's really sad. And so because I started to like put in the work to break myself out of that mindset, this show is the culmination of all of that, if you will, of just the processing of grief and the overcoming of one's own self, essentially, the
Mhm.
finding of one's own self, like facing ourselves, you know, like head on, like, I don't like this part of you. Where did you come from? Who are you? Is this naturally me? Or is this something I was taught to be? Is this habitual from seeing my family like this or my friends like this? Or has society told me I have to be this way? Like just so many things that I've had to question over the last decade or so that has allowed me to lean into joy more and lean into, you know, being a wife and a mother and appreciating those aspects of my life, because I think that one thing that comedy did for me, I'm not going to say in general, but for me, it was a platform to shit on those people. You know what I'm saying? Like I had the stage and I can get up there and just rant about all of my gripes of my life, all of my gripes of my marriage, all of my gripes of my children, you know? And it's like, yeah, those were real. I had gripes. They still
Mhm.
real. I
Mhm.
still got gripes. You know what I mean? Like they're real, but there are also a lot of beautiful, joyous moments that exist parallel to that.
Mhm.
And I wasn't allowing myself to feel
Mm.
because I thought that somehow that made me less than or weak or, you know, not as powerful of a woman because I'm not applauding all the bullshit that everyone wants to laugh at and wants to, you know, it's just not, I don't know. It's been an interesting, I feel like I'm tangling in my words now, but it's been an interesting journey to get to this point of just allowing myself to be comfortable with joy. And this show kind of talks about that on a deeper level of like, what are the things that we as, especially as, I'm not going to say that this doesn't happen to non-black and brown children, but there is a lot of like trauma that exists in our homes that are just like
Mhm.
habitual, and it's not on purpose. It's not like our parents wanted to, our parents or our grandparents or our uncles or our cousins or anybody who did anything to us. It's not like they was trying purposefully to harm us. They themselves were trying to exist and figure out what that looked like. And we just happened
Mhm.
to be a victim of circumstance because we were there.
Yeah.
But the to ignore that or not acknowledge that that exists and to just try to stay strong, be a strong black woman, like it actually kills us from the inside. And this show is like me opening up that part to show like here's the death of that part of me. Like I'm no longer going to live in that space of honoring the pain more than I honor the joy, you know? And I think it's about choice. It's all about choice. Life is all
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
choice. So,
I'm excited. I am so
yeah.
excited. It sounds like almost like the combination of what you've been putting out into the universe with your podcast, Be Less Petty.
It is. It
The
has a lot. It's like a lot of that. Yeah.
So if you guys have never heard her podcast, you can go back and, look at her podcast and hear her podcast. When I say I'm one of them people that didn't know I was petty. Yeah, I'm petty. And I'll be trying to be less petty. Yeah, but I'm petty. And it took a lot listening to Kellye to realize I was petty. Woo! So I
Because
think,
see, when we think about petty as a society, we always put it's always off of us. It's always like that was some petty shit, or or pettiness is also rewarded in our society. You know what I mean? It's rewarded. It's like, that was petty as hell, but girl, that was funny. Like, I took the concept of pettiness as the literal definition, which is it means small, menial, of little to no importance. And then I dissected my own life in ways that I was being petty. How am I being petty in my own life, right? In my friendships, in my marriage, in my parenting, in my health? How am I being petty? How am I doing things that have little to no importance to the overall place that I am striving to be in life, And so being diagnosed with multiple, and honestly, I was diagnosed with bipolar mania first. And then 6 months later, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So the two of those things combined kind of was like, bah, bah, you know what I mean? It hit me like heavy. So the diagnosis of bipolar had me wondering, am I crazy? Because that's what I'd known bipolar to be, right? And somebody else in my family was a cousin of mine, his baby mama was diagnosed with it. And that's what everybody said. Everybody was like, we knew that bitch was crazy. Like, so instantly I thought, oh, I'm the crazy bitch that they knew was crazy already now. Like, that's who I am. And so I kind of sat in that for a couple months. And then I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And I started looking up ways to minimize relapses and stuff like that, because I was having like a lot of issues with numbness and vision problems and things like that. And I'm like, man, the last thing I want to be is disabled. Like, where I'm a very, like, I was an electrician in the Air Force. Like, I'm a hands-on person. In fact, in our house, my husband will tell you, I'm the one that do all the fixing. Like, I do all the getting up on the ladders and changing, cleaning the gutters and the stuff. Like, that's my job. You know what I mean? Like, our roles are, and he cooks. You feed me, I'm gonna have this house right. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, and I like that stuff. I love to tinker with stuff. I love to be in things in that way with my hands dirty. And so I started looking up like ways to combat all of these mobility issues I was having. And a lot of stuff that was coming up was talking about inflammation and, diet, of course. But one of the things that stood out to me the most was the mental health aspect of it, like stress. Stress is a huge cause of relapses in people that have multiple sclerosis. Like, any added stress really affects them and affects the body. And what I also just recently learned is that inflammation. So, like, say you driving, right? And somebody piss you off and you like, you stupid bitch, and you hunking and you mad, road rage, right? For, let's say, I don't know how long road rage lasts. Usually about
10 seconds,
30 seconds, 10 to 30 seconds at most, right? Maybe a minute if you crazy, right? So that moment of road rage, that minute of outward anger actually manifests as inflammation in the body for more than 24 hours in the body. So I done gave this person 10 seconds of my life, you motherfucker, but it's still literally in my body, inflamed.
Wow.
And I just read that on some scientific article. I got to find what it is. I'll send you a link to it if you want to read it and put it like in the notes section when you guys post this. But yeah, it's like, damn. So you mean to tell me every time I get annoyed by something or irritated by something, or I allow something to just send me like that, I'm still inflamed for moments after, like several moments after? Whoa. Right. So now every time you pissed off at your kids for that couple seconds, or every time you mad at your mate, or every time the littlest thing, you thinking about like, damn, this showing up. And so that really makes you look at those moments a little differently. You be like, okay, let me breathe through this.
My rheumatologist is like, you got some inflammation in you. I just don't know where it's coming from.
All the time.
Now wait till I tell them, like, because I'm always cussing and fussing at somebody. I'm always doing it. I'm high strung. It's not. Now I can say, well, now I don't have to be concerned. It's because I'm always fussing at somebody.
And the thing is when you and this is no judgment, but when you get mad or you fuss at somebody, honestly, Kay, how do you feel moments after?
I feel bad because I done yelled and fussed at them and they probably didn't deserve it.
It never feels good. It never feels good. It never feels good when we attack people and make people feel small. Even if you got the biggest fucking ego in the world, it still never feels good. And that's the thing that I had to really check in myself, was like, am I doing this because I enjoy doing this? You know, because we got that idea of this is who I am. That's the big one, right? This is who I am. Hey, Frank, this is who I am. We got that idea, right? And we own that shit. This is who I am. This is how I was raised. You don't know me. You don't know my mama. You don't know where I come from. Like, okay, that's true. I don't know you. I don't know your mama. I don't know where you come from. That might be just who you are, but does it feel good? And that's the thing that we don't allow ourselves to acknowledge, is the pain that sits with us habitually. That we don't, you know what I mean? Like, I just personally can't live like that anymore. I can't live in a space of where I'm just doing this because it's a habit. I'm just doing this because this is just who I am. But I don't like the way I feel. I don't like the way I feel afterwards. And if that's the case, then there has to be something I can do to change it, you know? And that's what kind of triggered my meditation journey early on when I got diagnosed with the MS. It was like, oh, stress. How do I combat stress then? If stress is one of the number one triggers for relapses and things in the body with MS, then how do I deal with stress? Oh, meditation, chanting, different, baths, walks, right? Exercise, all of these things were coming up. And this was in 2013. So you're talking almost 10 years ago, right? Wow. All this stuff. And I'm like, okay. And I started meditating almost 10 years ago. Like, seriously, I had been kind of tinkering in and out of meditation before, but like where I really started taking it seriously was in 2013 after I was diagnosed with MS. That's when I was like, okay, I can't let this disease have me, because that was an option too. And and I've noticed that with diagnosis, it's like you got one or two ways you can go with this. You can lean into the disease and say, okay, have your way. And just don't do nothing. Don't change diet. Don't do anything. Just lean into it. Make excuses for why you can't. Or you can say, what control do I have? How much control do I have? And that's what I did. I asked myself, how much control do I have? And I realized that my mental health is one thing that I can control. My physical strength, I can control that through exercise. My diet, I can control that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, I don't eat sugar and bullshit. Like, you put the right piece of chocolate in front of me, I'm probably going to take it and eat it. Like, you know what I mean? Almond croissants at Starbucks is still the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still have my moments, but I'm mindful. And that's the first step. It's just being aware. Awareness is the first step to anything. If you don't know, how do you change it? So I just really started to take that part of my life, my mental health, much more seriously. And that's kind of how punch walls and kick trees.
Frank is so touched.
You can do that too. I mean, that's a release for some people.
It's costly.
But as I started to lean into that, it kind of morphed to be less petty. And I started to be less petty with my time, my space, and my energy. I stopped letting people that did not have my best interest at heart, only was triggers for me, into my space. Like, I don't deal with people like that anymore. And if I do, it's from a really, really deep, compassionate space of like, I know that this person is hurting because I was hurting before like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I showed up as the bully in high school. I was hurting. I was grasping for somebody to just see me and love me and acknowledge me. And it came out in the form of picking on other people and treating other people poorly. You know what I mean? And so just being aware of that, I've really started to reframe what pettiness means to me. And then I always turn it back in. It's like always back in, like, oh shit, what am I doing? How can I be less petty? How can I be less petty with my time, space, and energy?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then it turned into a brand. And then it turned into the podcast. Because I used to say, I'm so petty. I used to like profess that. That was like my manifestation. Oh, I'm petty as hell, bro. I'm so petty. I'm so petty. I'm so petty. I have shirts that say I'm so petty. I'm so petty. I'm so petty. I'm so petty. But now it's like acknowledging that I'm so petty because I know that I am on the journey to be less petty. So yes, I do acknowledge that I'm petty because I'm working towards being less of it.
And I've been doing some of the work, of being less petty. I have, and
you've come far.
Oh, hell yeah. I look, yep. And it took your husband. It literally, when I had a talk once, and maybe within a week or two of that talk, I think your husband and I were rah-rah-rahing about something, and I literally was agreeing with him, but he could not hear that I was agreeing with him because I am used to rah. And I just sat in it, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Mikey. I am so sorry that I have been an ass to you and just have been that. I've been evil and didn't know I was evil. And I just had to stay in it. Like, again, acknowledge it, see it, and sit in it and just like, damn, I'm sorry. And we've had such a better relationship after I've acknowledged it. And
yeah, y'all was getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
Y'all was getting on my nerves because he'd get off the phone and then he want to come and rant to me about, man, Kay, she just don't fucking listen, and I'm just like, I don't want to be in a, and I would always tell him, I would be the one on the other end of that, like, well, if you respond back to her in the same way that she's responding to you, then you guys are just going to keep doing this. But you have to show up with compassion and love, and you have to be the bigger person in this situation, and she will acknowledge that. She will notice that it's her. People got to sometimes see that they are not being fed. You know what I mean? If you feed the energy, it just keeps getting bigger, and nobody knows who was the first person to initiate it. It don't even matter. It don't matter who initiated it if y'all both doing it. If you decide, if we both fighting, like, for instance, oh my God. So in 7th grade, I think it was 7th grade, might have been 8th grade. My daughter, 7th or 8th grade, my daughter, one of her friends, or I don't know if she was her friend, I don't know what was going on, but a girl at school smacked her, like smacked the shit out of her in front of like the whole theater class, right? And my daughter just turned to the teacher and was like, I would like to go to the principal's office, please. And just walked away. And they called me. And at me, let me tell you something. And this was wait. This was 7th grade. So you talking, she's 21 now. So what are they in 7th grade? Like 13, 12, 13. So you're talking like 9 years ago. So 8-9 years ago, I wasn't Be Less Petty Kellye. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was on my way there, but I was still like, throw them bows, Kellye. You know what I mean? Like, no, if you buck, all right. You know what I mean? Like, I was still that Kellye, very much so. And so they called me and they're like, Faith, what's smack? They didn't even say Faith got in a fight, because she didn't get in a fight. She didn't get in a fight. She got smacked and she walked away. And she was like, she didn't hit the young lady. She walked away. And I pick her up and I'm like, fuck you. You ain't hit her back, right? Like, you know, and then she was like, Mom, you know, I know that she's going through a lot and her home situation is not that great. And she has a lot of issues, you know, and I just didn't want to feed that. And just like, I mean, we learn so much from our children. We learn so much.
Oh my goodness.
Like
Faith
she
is
did,
phenomenal.
she did not feed the energy. She did not feed the energy. She like walked, and if she had fed the energy, it wouldn't have mattered. They both would have got suspended. It was a fight. It wouldn't have mattered who hit who.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, the little girl got in trouble. Faith came back to school. Everything was fine. You know, and that was that. That was the end of that for Faith on her end, because she was like, I just couldn't feed the energy. But I'm like, oof, child.
Yeah.
I still think about that. Like, I can't believe she, like, who baby is that? Who raised her? Who raised this child? Because it was not me. If she's not hitting people back, was not me.
Look, she is the you now. She is.
She's the me I always wanted to be at that age.
Yeah, because
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, because look, I'm ready to say, what's her name? Faith, remember her name. I need to find
Remember
her.
her name? We need to go back and find her. You older now. What you want to do? But you know, but there's some truth and there's some lessons to be learned in that, is that if you don't feed the energy, there's nowhere for the energy to go. Like, have you ever had somebody that was just like super nice to you and you mad as hell, you yelling, you on the phone, and they're like, I understand, ma'am. I understand. I understand. I understand. I understand. And you like, fuck your understanding. Like, you ready to bite their head off.
Mm-hmm.
But they not giving you the energy, so there's nowhere for your energy to go. You get more and more angry.
Or calm down, because you can't.
There's nowhere for the.
Yeah,
Or you just hang up and then you be pissed off about it and you go and rant to everybody that will feed that energy, because that happens too. We see that all the time, where it didn't go the way you thought it would go, and so you move on to people who will acknowledge that. And they be like, oh, I would have did this. I can't believe that bitch. Oh, she said what? She said she understand. Understand what? Right? And they just feeding it. And now the story is distorted, because now you done made her out to be a different kind of villain in your head, because you're trying to figure out a way to justify this behavior. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
It's so crazy. I see it in myself all the time. Anytime, and I'm so hyper aware now. I've been, like I said, meditating and chanting for so long. And I chant for so long. I chant for like 30 and 40-minute sessions every day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like super in tuned with when I'm off balance in an interaction. Even with Mike the other day, we were talking about transgender and race relations and stuff like that. And it was a deep conversation. And, and so I guess a celebrity said something recently about a transgender, like not being a woman. It was like, but you're not a woman, or something like that. Something. I don't know I don't know, because I didn't read the article. I don't know. And I'm not on social media. So I'm kind of like in a bubble trying to.
Yeah, you gone there.
I am. I've been off for 8 months. So I'm trying to explain this in a bubble, but it was something like that. And I was arguing for transgenders, right? And Mike wasn't arguing against it.
Right.
He was just, Mike is one of those kind of guys, like, he was raised by parents who is all about objectivity. Like, you need to know the whole story. Don't be one-sided, because then if you're one-sided, if you're so gun-ho on what you believe, you will never be able to hear the other person. And is not life about connection and understanding and listening? It's not about what we've tried to make, like your side versus my side, red versus blue, him versus her. It's not really about that. It's about the understanding of the two sides, so that we can coexist. We don't have to agree with one another, but we have to coexist with one another. And so how do we make that more peaceful, right? And so he's being the objective guy that he is, devil's advocate, which always sets me the fuck off, okay? Drives me crazy. And so he's like, okay, what's the difference of, he said, because I'm like, well, transgender people are born with a desire, they feel like they're a woman. If they're transgender into a female, like a trans woman feels like she's a woman. She's always felt like she's a woman. And he said, okay, well, what's the difference between that and, let's say, a Rachel Dolezal or somebody like that who feels she's Black?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, but she was born white. He said, and a transgender woman was born a man. So what's
Mm-hmm.
the difference? And he presented that thought, and I was like, it's different. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm looking, girl, I'm searching. I'm like, is it different?
Right. We're gonna make
different.
it work.
It's different, right? I'm looking. And then I kind of had to just acknowledge, and I said, I don't feel 100% that it's the same. And I do feel like a lot of things are being misconstrued when it comes to the whole transgender world and what they're trying to express. I said, but in this particular moment, I have to bow to my ego and acknowledge that you make a good point. You make a good point. And he really used it on himself first before we even got into the Rachel Dolezal thing. He said, what if I walked around saying, I'm Black, yo? That's what he said. And I was like, yo mama Japanese and your daddy Chinese. Like, no, you not. And he was like, but I got all Black friends. I got a Black wife. I got a half Black daughter. I'm around Black people all the time. What if I say I feel Black? And I was like, damn.
See?
You're making points. You're making points that I have no argument for.
Ooh.
And I mean, I know it's really no way to pit race against that. I mean, it's a bigger conversation, so much bigger, so much deeper. And I want to make that very evident before somebody take a sound bite and try to cancel.
Oh my God, they better not take no damn sound bites off of this.
Before I'm even cancelable.
Oh my
pre-cancellation.
Right.
But I mean, but it's what I'm saying is that it's just being objective to
understanding objectivity.
Objectivity is multiple sides to every story. Like, it's always something to be learned. And I have actually part of one of my chants, I say, I listen to understand. Like, I pray on that every day, that I listen to understand. I listen to understand. I listen to understand. And I say that because sometimes I listen only to make my point. I listen because I'm looking for that sound bite that you got. What you say? Oh yeah, there you go. I'm gonna snatch on to that thought and I'm gonna just go for that. But the person said so much more. It was so much more, And so I've noticed that I'm very aware of, like, when I'm being out of pocket, and it's easier for me to acknowledge. Like, right in that conversation that we were having, I acknowledged it. I was like, my ego is trying to be bigger and trying to not let me say these words, but you are. You make you make a good point. No,
I'm going to go on record right now and say that D. Michael Jew is the Bruce Leroy of feelings. He will get you right. He will push you, and he will get you right. So to have that king marry you, the queen, it just creates just a place of love. Like, when people see you guys or see pictures, to even see your pictures together, you feel that love, like that true connection. You just feel it. It make you all mushy and shit. And I don't like to be feeling mushy and shit, but I go there for y'all.
That's crazy, because I was just telling him I want a divorce.
After you said I do. I saw that he posed again, and you said I do again. So
you know what? He really does. He really does. Like, and I love that. I hate it, but I love it. He really does make me. He challenged my habitual ways of thinking. Because I was one of those people that you couldn't tell me shit because I knew everything.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You couldn't tell me shit. You couldn't tell me nothing about nothing because I already know.
Mm.
But I know what I know, but I also don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's so much out here more to know. Like, we only have the little morsel of our life that we've been exposed to, which is very limited. It's so limited. We're like a grain of sand in our existence. When you think about how many people there is in this world, think about how massive the universe is. Like, we're here today, gone today. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And I took that from my homeboy Dale, numerologist. He says that all the time on his readings. Here today, gone today. Like, that's a hard concept to come to wrestle with. And so I have like really tried to shape my life around learning, growing, evolving, becoming a better, fuller, more realized me, and a me that I can go to sleep knowing that I like and love, and say that she did her best job today. She did what she came to do in this day. So if I should die before I wake, right,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have a worthy soul to take. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to switch that up a little bit, I would have a soul worth taking. Like, I feel like for many, many years, I wasn't that. Like, I was very catty. I was very petty. I was very jealous. I didn't want to see anybody. It was only one spot, and that was
Mm.
mine, and couldn't nobody have it. And the people that did take it or did have it, I didn't. It was I made reasons why I justified why they was able to, not because they worked hard for it. Oh, she light skinned. Oh, he this. Just like, instead of just being proud and happy for somebody for realizing their goals and reaching where they want to, and knowing that I'm on my journey, I'm on my path, and my goals will be realized. I don't have to pit myself up against anybody or anything in order to fully realize who I am. Like, that's a personal thing. That's a personal, and so just all of that. Like, it's crazy. Some people would probably I will be unrecognizable to some people because of just how I used to be, like, and can still be
Look,
sometimes.
I couldn't imagine that person, because the person that has shown up for me in these 7, 8 years has been love, has been friendly, has been a work in progress of acknowledging things and always looking to be better. So, you telling me of what you used to be. Yeah, I don't know who that person is, but as they say, when you know better, you do better, and you may not recognize who you used to be. Yeah, I don't know who that person is. I know who this Kellye Howard Jew is, and I must say, along with the rest of the world, we love us some Kellye. We,
Oh, thank
we
you.
love
Thank
us
you.
some Kellye. You know, um, we've talked about your theater. We've talked about your show. We've talked about
Crazy or not, August 18th
Crazy or
through
Not, August 18th
21st,
through the 21st at the Steppenwolf Theater.
the Steppenwolf Theater.
Yes. We have talked about Be Less Petty.
Be less petty.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about a
Oh,
little.
which Be Less Petty is co-hosted by a licensed therapist, by the way. Let's put that out there.
Yes, Alexandria. Yes, Alexandria.
You're going to say her whole name,
Yes,
Alex
Alexandria
Garcia.
Garcia.
Yes, she is the co-host of Be Less Petty, the podcast. So it's not just me on there spewing out these crazy ideas. It's actually backed up with somebody that is processing this with us,
Oh
helping
yeah,
us.
and you guys really. She's quiet in her process. Like, she's quiet. She like that therapist. So I've been trying to, I did some therapy last year. It didn't work. Let me phrase that. It worked. I just didn't finish the process. I know.
What kind of therapist did you have?
I don't know.
Was it a Black woman?
Yes.
Okay.
It was it was an older Black woman. And one of the things that we laughed about, she was like, look, I don't think she was like, I have to watch you closely because you're charismatic and you can pull me into where you trying to go to avoid what we supposed to be working on. And that's not going to work. That's not gonna work. And I'm like, I don't know what I was doing. I was just running my mouth. She was like,
You didn't know you was doing it, but
but
you was
she
doing
caught
it.
it. And with Alex, it is her calming voice, her calming spirit, and your fullness of life, where you like, oh, y'all just, it's so great. The chemistry is awesome, and it's everything is able to just get through. Like all, what was it, 6 episodes or 7 episodes? Your last season.
The last season, I think it was like 5 actually.
We'll see. I might have watched one more than once.
Yeah, I
So
think it was like 5 last season, which we will be gearing back up for a 2023 season release after I'm done filming and after my Steppenwolf show. So then
okay,
I'll start
that
working on that.
was going to be my question. Do we get any more Be Less Petty? And do we, I know you retired from comedy for a while. You announced your retirement from comedy, and then,
Ended up back doing stand up.
yeah. So are you back officially?
Here's the thing. I have a love-hate relationship with stand-up comedy because for one, let me say this. Let me show you something. So I've always had this was my like first logo, or how do I do that with the camera? There it is. Laughter takes the pain away. If you can see
Oh,
that,
yes.
right? Laughter takes the pain away, and it's a smiling band-aid. So when I first started stand-up comedy back in 2006, I think like 2007 or 2008, I had that on shirts. I was selling that after shows, right?
Mm,
Laughter takes the pain away. Do yourself a favor and laugh today. And I like really believe that. Like I really, oh, thank you. I really believe that, but laughter does not take the pain away. It literally does what this is showing. It places a band-aid over it. It just covers it up. And I've had so much trauma in my life that I was tired of running from it. And that's why I walked away from stand up, because stand up gave me a place to run to. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like a drug addict that's tired of, like, I'm tired of getting high. You know what I mean? Like you just, and that's what it was. Comedy was a high for me. It was a place for me to just go and release whatever agitation I'm feeling versus actually sitting with it and acknowledging it and processing it. I don't feel like we, and I'm not gonna say we, I didn't. Other people may. I try to do, I'm trying to be really good at not saying we, as in assuming other people deal with life like this.
mhm.
But I had a habit of not processing grief, and not just grief as in like death, but just grief of anything, loss of a relationship, right? Loss of a friendship, loss of your favorite pair of earrings, right? Loss of anything, just not even acknowledging that this thing happened, just kind of skating past it and moving on. Forward movement. The goal is forward movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, though. No, because then you get so far forward that disease and illness and all other types of things start to show up in your body because you're not acknowledging. The Body Keeps the Score. That's a great book by
Girl.
Bessel Van. I have it up here somewhere. Bessel Bessel Van Bessel something. It's called The Body Keeps the Score, though. It's the only one out there. And it's a great book that talks about how, like, things that happen to us, and it really started to show up a lot in my marriage because, for one, with the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, they say it limits your sex drive. And so I already didn't have like a huge sex drive, but then I had also been band-aiding childhood molestation. I had also
Mm,
been band-aiding that for so many years and not acknowledging that this thing happened to me. And I need to look at that shit. Like I need to deal with that shit so that I can have a loving, intimate relationship with a partner and not keep not trusting him in that way because of some shit that happened to me when I was 8, 9, and 10. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm, mhm.
and so comedy for me was just like that drug that I no longer wanted to take. And I also didn't see myself as a stand-up comedian. Somebody told me you should try stand-up comedy, girl, you funny. I never studied comedians. I didn't know comedians. I think the only comedian I might have knew was like Eddie Murphy and Bernie Mac, and that's just because they were Eddie Murphy and Bernie Mac.
Pretty much.
Like, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like, I didn't like, oh, and Lucille Ball. But she's a different kind of comic. She's not a stand-up, Lucille Ball. And that's because my mom watched the I Love Lucy show
Lucy
my
Show. Yeah.
entire upbringing. It was always on the TV. So I knew that. But as far as like knowing comedians, I didn't know comedians. I didn't study comedy. I didn't even understand how to write a joke. I still barely understand how to write a joke. Like I understand it in the style that I tell jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know like late night comedy, setup, punchline, da da da. If I'm writing for like a late night TV show, I would never. I wouldn't even try to do that because that's not my lane of writing, And so with comedy, I enjoy it, but now I'm starting to enjoy it in a healthier way, which is scary. You know what I mean? Because I've always used it as my drug, as my way to get this shit off my chest, which led to saying things on stage that I didn't really mean just to get the laugh, being a certain way on stage that was not aligned with who I am, trying to get the laugh, I gotta be extra hood and from Harvey tonight, y'all, so y'all can see me. And that's not even like who Kellye is today. Like I'm not that person, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's aspects of her that will always exist in me, but to say that that's where I am would be lying to both the audience and myself in that moment. And so once I started to notice that I was literally shucking and jiving, it became gross to me. It became something that I just couldn't do. And so now I'm building a healthier relationship with comedy. I don't know where it's going to go. I really, really desire to take my career into comedic motivational speaking and to like really help women out here that are Black and brown women, just Black and brown people, but specifically women, because I've faced a lot of women specific issues, with child loss and things like that. And that's like really hard for a lot of women to wrap their head around once they've lost a living child. It's a lot. And so I want to be able to be the pillar of possibility for a lot of women, to show them like there is joy at the end of the tunnel, even if we can't see it right away. And a lot of my chanting and meditation has been in the dark, has been a lot of, I don't even know if this is working, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to get up and do it anyway. And hopefully something comes of it. And then, I mean, look at my life today. I feel like, and no, I'm not famous. I'm not rich, but I have joy. And to me, that's rich. That's wealth.
That is very wealthy. I think you are very wealthy because you experience joy and love.
Joy.
And like, you can laugh but not feel it. When you laugh, you feel it, because I can feel it from your face. When you laugh, that laugh, like,
don't make me laugh.
When you laugh, we laugh. It's amazing.
But shouldn't we all experience joy? Like we
should.
It's crazy how much you think It's crazy how much you think a person has it all. And then you look up and they've committed suicide or something, like, and we're looking at people and we're like, oh, they got it all. They got the perfect life.
And no.
We never know what people are dealing with. Like these smiles, these Insta smiles are so photoshopped to be, and not literal Photoshop, but it's just crafted to look a certain way. Hence me getting off social media. I found that I was pulling myself into this place of depression, trying to fit the idea of what happiness looked like. And I didn't really understand what happiness looked like for myself, or what, not, I don't like to say happiness, because happiness, I feel like, is fleeting, but like inner joy, like that inner lying joy, something can happen. Someone can die, something, you can get in a car accident and you still have joy. Joy can still be at the base of who you are. And that's like my goal. Like I'm always striving for that, and just, so when I look at social media, and not to like shit on social media, because I'm honestly thinking about like getting back on there for my one woman show. But when I think about social media, I was just thinking about how it was a lot of comparison. It was a lot of imposter syndrome. It was a lot of stuff. A lot of shame. A lot of things were bubbling up for me, trying to mirror what other lives look like. And I don't feel like any of that is really real. I mean, the world of social media isn't real. You know what I'm saying? Like, if technology, if we were to lose internet across the globe.
Oh my.
Remember
when Facebook,
oh my.
Remember what happened to the world when Facebook went down for 4 hours?
Oh my.
What happened to my Facebook?
It's not real. Then you have to, oh my God, talk to people.
Yeah. I guess, what I have learned is that I really use it for what it's supposed to be used for, to stay connected with friends. Like, I have over 1,000 Facebook friends, but I can tell you, I personally know every single person minus about 20. Like, I know, I can tell you where I know you from, a story about who you are.
That's amazing.
But it was because I was guarded with who could see my kids. So everything wasn't there. And then the only reason why literally that I'm even on IG is because your husband and his friends, my bosses, made me. Other than that, I wouldn't be on IG because it's just too much. Y'all posting content every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. Y'all got reels. When do y'all sleep? Shit, because hell, I only watch y'all when I'm on the toilet, and it's been too much.
What is this message? Somebody just posted a message about the video with Mia and B. Cole, the Doritos commercial.
Oh, he wants to show this commercial.
Show that. I'm totally cool with showing that. I love that video. When I say this place in my life, like, I've come through, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh God, no, don't talk about that. It was things I would do. It was things I would say, places I would just be not genuine. That commercial was a genuine commercial. It was funny. We actually crafted that and wrote it and came together and produced it. It was like,
Terrence, play the video, Terrence. Play the video.
What's up, man? Yo! Hey, we're just in the neighborhood. Got some good news. Oh, your boy just popped the question. Yo! Yeah, we getting married, man. No! I have to tell my best friend. What's up?
I love that, dude. It comes back every few years. It pops back up, and be be like our commercial on the run again. Every few years, it'll go away and then it'll come back. And it's so funny. It's so funny.
Oh my God! How did they even know that was you? I almost didn't recognize the younger you without braids.
Locks.
Oh, without locks. Yes, I know that. Locks. Get it right, Coco.
Get it right.
Oh my goodness. That is hilarious.
I love all my old sketches. Like, I love sketch comedy. That's so much fun.
But I'm
stand-up comedy, I was like kind of responsible for what I said on stage, versus sketch comedy is like different. Stand-up, I would get up there and just really say some mean, vicious things that just wasn't, it's a part of my life that I'd be like, damn, Kellye. But you don't know what you know. So you grow past that. But my sketches is funny as hell. Like Thought Anthem. Have you ever seen my Thought Anthem video?
No.
With Just Niche. Oh my God.
Okay.
It's amazing. You gotta go on YouTube dig for some of my sketches because they're funny.
For real. First of all, what people may not know is like you, Just Niche, Tiffany Haddish, all you guys were on the same circuit around the same time and always doing stuff. So
Just Niche is a little younger than us.
Just a little? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Tiffany is first. She's been doing stand-up since she's been around 20 plus years doing stand-up. I'm year 16 now. Ooh. I think Just Niche probably have been doing stand-up for maybe 10 years, if maybe 12. Okay. Maybe. She started a few years after me.
And y'all just funny as hell. Like, just funny. We had Just Niche for my sister's birthday party, and I was like, look, my head hurt because I've laughed so much at you.
Hot mess.
It's just, I always laugh when when you're on stage and you talk about Mikey. And he like, hey, do you have to laugh that hard? Yes, I do, because it's funny, because I personally know you and I know that you did that. So I'm laughing. So yeah. So it was that one of my prouder moments, that the world got to see, were you in your commercial, you and the three sisters.
The Humira commercial.
The Humira commercial. I must say, I love your commercial over Mercer's commercial. But that's because I know you. And you're like family to me. But
it was a very happy commercial though. And it came out right during the pandemic. So it made people like happy because we were outside. We were doing like a lot of outside things. We were on a boat. Like it made you feel like, oh, I aspire to be outside again. It was a very happy commercial.
Are we going to see you in any more commercials that you know? Is there anything that you can mention for us to be on the lookout for? I say just be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout for casting me in some commercials, whoever's listening. No, I don't have any commercials coming up. I am going to be on the next season of Power, season 2.
Get Power.
Power Force, the one that's shot here in Chicago, the one that follows Tommy.
Okay, good. Oh.
Yeah, so I am going to be on there as a recurring star, recurring guest star. Yeah, and then I'm working on some other stuff. I have a show that I co-wrote with some other comedians, Lisa Beasley being one of them, Yusuf, and I don't know if you know Ron, but he's an actor, not really a stand-up. I don't think he really does comedy, actually. I think he does acting. But we wrote a show together and we just filmed it. It got funded. And so we just filmed it last week. We was filming every day for 6 days and an overnight shoot. Oh my God. I'm still tired. But it was so much fun. And I'm so excited to see where that goes. Yeah, man. I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to be able to create fun stuff, interesting work with fun people. Like, that's it right there. Ultimately, the goal is just to be around people who I can enjoy, and I'm doing that. So I have no complaints.
So this is kind of personal, like what I want to see you do. And I hope I'm not putting it off on you. So you could tell me, no, that's not something you ever thought about. But because you're so handy, would you ever think about doing a DIY, do it yourself DIY show or something?
I would freaking love to do a DIY show where I'm able to put. In fact, me and Mike have been doing our backyard, and we're like so hippie. We're so hippie. So we have like all of these sticks in a pot, like just big ass branches that have fallen off the trees, and we've like shaved them down, and they're like just these big dumb sticks, and we put like rocks in a pot in big pots, and we stuck these sticks in them, and we plan to like drape some lights over them and just be real hippie like, and we love it. And Blair Christian, I don't know if you know who that is, but she dances for Missy and is a comedian and actress, wilding out, has done it all. She came over the other day for dinner and was like, she was like, oh my God, I would totally watch a show of y'all doing this shit right here. She's like, I would watch this all day of y'all just putting together stuff. And I loved it. I love it. Like my office, I essentially did most of the stuff. Like even my meditation area that you see over there, a lot of that is DIY. A lot of those beads are made out of new magazine. So we rolled magazine and we put beads on it, and then we put them on hooks. And I wanted beads like the old 70s beads, but you can't really find them online that look authentic. So we just made it. I had a whole bunch of magazines, and I was like, what can we do with this? And so we made these little rolls of paper, magazines. Some of them I painted. The red things that is hanging on, that was that came out of our weight bench. It's hard cardboard. And I spray painted it red and like screwed it up there and hooked everything to that. Like I'm such a DIYer. Most of the stuff in our home is like crafted from some version of a DIY experiment.
The reason why I asked, you got me hooked when you were after you guys bought the new house and you started making it your own. You turned a closet into your studio.
Oh yeah, my studio is right here in my office.
You did. You're like, here, this is what I did, and staple, this, and I'm like, she just pulled you through a whole room.
I think y'all can see it if it doesn't get dark.
Like amazing. You just everything that you've done. It's just like, yeah.
There it is.
Look at that sound. She said she did that herself. 100% herself. Yeah. Sound booth. All by herself.
Really cool. I love it though. I love that kind of stuff though. It's very therapeutic for me. You know, it's a form of therapy to be able to just start. And originally, I don't know if you see up there those black things. I was originally gonna have the podcast and record out here, but then the pandemic happened, and I was like, "Ain't nobody coming in my house."
Yeah, catch me at the front door.
Like, nah, you good. But yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Like, it's so therapeutic to just be hands-on and to be in my own, like, put on some good music and just be in there fucking creating shit, you know. And I mean, you can improv anything. You can make anything out of anything.
Oh yeah,
I believe that.
You and I both love the Dollar Tree.
I know I can't go to the Dollar. I'm not allowed to buy anything from Dollar Tree anymore. Mike was like, "We got all this shit from Dollar Tree. You said you're gonna make something with. You ain't made nothing." I was like, because these projects take time.
Yeah, they've told me I can't go to Dollar Tree either. I be sneaking. And then they'll see eventually. They're like, where you get that from? The Dollar Tree. Then you like it though, so leave me alone.
Exactly.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Thank you.
I had to curse out the damn when we first moved here, we had a guy. I didn't curse him out because that caused inflammation, but I had to let him know. I had to check his ass real quick. He came over and he saw like because in the back, I have all my tools and they're like really, I'm like A-type. I'm very A in that way, like type A in that way. And so everything's like really sectioned and perfectly done. So I can find exactly what I'm looking for when I'm looking for it. And he came back here and was like, "Oh, wow. Your husband got some nice tools." And I was like, excuse me? My husband don't know how to use a tool. Okay? A screwdriver is the extent of his expertise when it comes to tool using.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, this yours?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yes.
I was mad about that.
Yeah. So do you have like a little circular drill thing? Because
I got a circular saw.
Because what we
circular saw or a circular or a drill bit.
Know. So what I want to do is create a shot holes in something.
Oh, so you need a drill. That's just a drill bit?
That's just a drill.
What are you trying to put holes in?
I don't know. Wood or foam? I don't know yet.
Foam is super easy.
Foam is super easy, but it needs to be able to hold a shot glass with liquor in it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So wait, upside down?
No, I want to make a different kind of shot glass holder. Remember how Bounce had like the surfboard and they would bring. I want to create.
Got it. I see what you're
something
saying.
Big and something special like that. So I'm just looking for stuff. I'm like, maybe I'm gonna try to figure it out. And then I said, I got this idea, but I don't have tools. I wouldn't even know. Who can I ask? I'm like, ooh, Kellye. So
that's just a drill bit. That's just a drill bit. She said, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Terrence, thank you.
That's just a drill bit. You can get a drill bit, a circular drill bit, if it matches the size of the shot glass bottom. Like you would just have to measure the bottom of the shot glass to see how wide they are, and then get that size circular drill bit. And you can do that in wood. You can do that in just about anything. You can probably scrap something, go to like a garage sale on Craigslist and find something and then make that out of that. Yeah.
Thank you so very much. You're always helpful. Always helpful. I I thank you so much for being on the show today. She said what she said. I think you are amazing. Everybody, please buy your ticket today. As soon as you see this, Steppenwolf Theater. I believe it's Steppenwolf.
They can go to my website, KellyeHoward.com, and it'll pop up as as soon as you log on to my website, it'll pop up as
August 18th through the 21st.
My name is spelled Kellye.
Yes, please. Don't do Kellye. You will not get answered. I've learned that the hard way. Kellye Howard.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kellye. We appreciate you for taking time out this evening to be on She Said What She Said.
No
I hope you enjoyed it because I thoroughly have. And I hope our viewers got to become a fan of you as much as I am.
I did enjoy it. Are these your sponsors at the bottom here?
Yes. So Trey Bella Nail Spa and Under Armour support. So She Said What She Said is on a network, Chicago Clubhouse Network. And so Trey Bella and Under Armour support the network.
Okay. I'm going to need some sports bras.
Sports bras.
Under Armour. I'm going to need some sports bras, some socks.
Something. Okay, Terrence.
Can I get some socks, Under Armour?
Please and thank you. Look,
I can use a pedicure too, Trey Bella.
There we go.
That's when they say I look like Janet when I got them cheekbones.
Ooh, she said what she said. So let's make it happen, Trey Bella and Under Armour. Terrence.
Thank y'all so much. This was fun though. I really enjoyed myself. I did. I hope to see y'all at the show.
I'll be there.
Awesome.
All right. Love you. Thank you.
All right. Love you.
Bye.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.